Hello and welcome back, everyone, as we're preparing for game number 2 of our second series of the day. Dignitas Academy picking up their first win of the summer split, going to a 1-2 record right now, and they just got one more, and they can tie themselves up with FlyQuest Academy at that 2-2 club right now. And again, it looks pretty convincing. This is kind of how we saw Dignitas Academy play in the spring split, winning through their lanes, winning through outperforming their opponents, and honestly, got the same thing around this time. FlyQuest Academy on the back foot right now. They got to figure out a way to bring it together.
Yeah, and winning through skirmishing. And I really like to see that with the champions that they drafted, the Diana, the Nocturne, the Lee Sin. These are all skirmishers that you want to play with, and I think Dignitas executed upon that much better today than they did yesterday against EG, who we do hold EG in a very high regard as an academy team. We think that they are a top 3 team, whereas these two teams more middle of the pack, jousting to try and make that top 6 and get the fast qualification for Proving Grounds. But hey, that means that these games, they matter even more, right? And so the fact that they're able to take this game and at least guarantee themselves a split, that's good news for Dignitas. You're a Dig fan.
Exactly. Here we'll take a couple looks because the early game didn't look too great for him, Cubby. Acadian was unfortunately killed with first blood there from Kumo, and then the repeat gank on the Lorlo. It looked like FlyQuest had the early game in the bag.
Yeah, and this is something that against the Diana, so important, right? Setting her behind FlyQuest, they did that successfully, but this fight was where things turned on its head as Acadian finds NXI with a level advantage, burns the flash, and really the Nocturne, the fact that FlyQuest didn't really know which angle Dignitas was taking to hit them, led to a 3-man kick from Yasui that opens the game wide open and leads to a series of bot lane dives that sets Tomo very far behind with the rest of his squad, as FlyQuest just weren't really able to ever get back into the game after that play.
And this one here, the play continues going on. This was a very long one, but it shows that Dignitas was willing to keep plays coming, right? Once Acadian hit that level 6 breakpoint, things opened up for him, and he could actually impact the map, as opposed to yesterday when he played this matchup, the Diana versus the Rumble. Couldn't really make anything happen once he was that far behind. But yeah, you see how impactful Diana can actually be in the current meta right now.
And this was the fight where if you're a Viego enthusiast, you get a little bit antsy, as Triple so close to cleaning this one up as the Viego, but Lorlo, a beautiful ultimate here, dodges out on the Viego ultimate, and Yasui able to help his teammate kite back, as Yasui, a fantastic performance on this Lee Sin as well, Kangas, finding solo kills in the side lane, setting up that big kick that won him that first fight that really got them the lead to start doing things like this, where FlyQuest didn't have much of a chance to get back on the Rift after this one.
Dignitas Academy looking much more dominant than they did yesterday and hoping to keep that momentum rolling forward, right? This is a roster that performed well at the spring split end of the season, right? They finished 4th, but then fizzled out a little bit in the Proving Ground circuit itself. So their trajectory started high and then ended a little bit lower, and now already in the summer, it's looking like they're kind of fluttering around here right now. Let's see if they catch an updraft here in game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, when you lose 2 games in less than like 55 minutes combined, you can only really go up from there. But still, hey, for Dignitas, it was a good look, right? A much better game for Diana, for Acadian in this jungle matchup that we're starting to see quite a bit of as the Diana into Rumble combo, as teams, the Morgana nerf a little bit too much, really took away her clear speed, which was the biggest strength of her kit, along with the utility. Feel like other champions are more impactful in the game, as that's really changed the jungle meta. And as we are on the live patch 11.11, pretty rare actually that competitive games are on the live patch. We have that here.
We do, and it's important to note, neither of these teams put priority on the Lulu Kindred lane that we saw in the earlier series, and also a lot yesterday. Oh, yeah. It was banned. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Lulu was banned. Yeah. FlyQuest played it in game 1.
Mind.
Yeah, they played it in game 1 yesterday. They looked really good, and that does seem to be like the best response that we've seen to Rumble so far, as I believe that Lulu Kindred. I have not been watching the secondary stream over at twitch.tv/nerdstreetlol. There is CLG versus TLA going on over there right now. If you do want to tune in, they're probably about to hop into game 2, just like we are here. But I believe it's undefeated, that combo, Lulu Kindred. And I have a feeling that it's getting banned away from TL because my sources tell me that TL is very much responsible for pioneering that one. So, yeah.
I'm wondering also because yesterday we saw Braum bans coming through, and I remember talking to some of the other casters, some of the other analysts, saying, "Why are we seeing so many Braum bans? It's kind of strange." But I wonder. But this is my theory. People thought Braum was the issue with the Lulu Kindred comps, but no. It was actually Lulu. Lulu's the thing that really brings that one together. So showing that is now a ban that I think if you're on the blue side, you have to consider. We'll have to wait and hold out to see are there other options, right? Is that first pickable? Can you just blue one Kindred or blue one Lulu if they're up on the table, or is it really just those two together that make the combo work?
It's definitely the two together. It is something that we got our first look at it when Golden Guardians were actually playing it in Challengers Uprising, right? As Golden Guardians, the only Academy team that decided to compete in the semi-pro event going on right now, Mondays and Tuesdays. They did on Tuesday get knocked out 0-3 by Zeus Gaming, a team that you probably recognize as the Toilet Paper Cats, who beat TSM. A little bit of a different look for them, as they do have a Lorum, Griffin, and Tuesday names that you probably recognize if you have been following the Academy scene. So yeah, they got beat 0-3, and Lulu Kindred was picked by them twice in that series, but definitely something that has kind of taken over at least the pick ban phase here for Academy, as we've seen a lot of priority put on that Lulu as she already finds her way onto the ban list here.
And that's from Dignitas on the red side too. So I'm curious because I don't see Dignitas as as a team of players that would play the Lulu Kindred. I don't know. When I look at their play styles, I just don't know if it matches up with them. So it makes sense that they're the ones banning it out. Interesting to know that FlyQuest is banning Gwen on the blue side.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kangas. And same with Udyr, which tells me that maybe it's first pick Lee Sin for them. Something that Kumo in game 1 yesterday piloted to perfection at 6-0-4. Champion that Dignitas, they have some choices with the champions that they want to remove. Rumble, Varus, Renekton, Lee Sin, all pretty high prio and first picks that we've been seeing on this patch in Academy. Gonna have to leave up a couple.
They banned the Rumble, so that means Lee Sin is on the table right now if FlyQuest want to grab it, and there we go. Lock it in immediately.
Yeah, this is something that Kumo looks really good on, and I'm curious. I fully expect Renekton to be locked in here. Has been a pick that Dignitas did take in both games yesterday, and they're going to pair it up with Varus immediately. And I'm curious that with both Udyr and Rumble taken off the table, like a lot of picks that we've seen, it's been like one team gets that power pick and then another team gets a response into that. I'm curious how that kind of changes things up as we see a fast bot lane lock-in, a Felios Atomo special with Thresh, something that FlyQuest found a lot of success on that split, already being locked in here.
We've seen a lot of Thresh bans on the second rotation of bans. We haven't seen it locked in the first rotation of picks here. But FlyQuest, they want it. They say Thresh Aphelios. It provides the Aphelios a lot of that movement. But the answer from Dignitas is that immediate Nautilus lock-in.
Nautilus, a counter to Thresh, because when Thresh throws out the death sentence, you can just throw out the dredge line, and you do a little bit more damage earlier in the game. So Varus is not going to have the same mobility that Thresh can give you with that Lantern. Thresh Aphelios, a very powerful lane that synergizes really well together, as Aphelios, if Aphelios has access to Gravitum, the purple gun, can follow up a lot of the CC from Thresh with a root, and you get the mobility later in the game. But Varus outranges Aphelios and is going to look to build poke. So their goal is going to be to poke out Aphelios to make sure that he isn't able to get in range to interact with Dignitas' champions. As we see picks and bans rolling through. Going to start targeting the junglers here. No Nidalee for Acadian, his most played in the last split.
Nidalee taken off the table. Nocturne and Olaf. Nocturne still can kind of be flexed into the jungle, although we're seeing it more in the solo lanes. I think that's just a respect ban, because I believe Triple did actually pick that one up. Yeah, Triple played that in one of their victories yesterday. So, Diana, there we go. That means that maybe, Rumble taking off the table. This is all the priority junglers now off the table. I think FlyQuest is sitting on this Lee Sin are feeling pretty comfortable.
Yeah, we are in brand new territory here at Kangas, as we're going to have to see which junglers end up being picked.
Do we see it finally? It's the Elise!
So, Elise has not seen much pro play, but has seen a lot of nerfs on the patch notes, including another nerf in this one. That said, is going to be the lock-in for Acadian, and Renekton Elise, a classic combo. Tons of CC and gank assists for this Elise to go towards, as I would not be surprised if this is a Karthus. It's not a bad pick into Elise. You can power farm with it, as FlyQuest is going to take some more time to think about it. They're going to lock in the Orianna for triple in the mid lane and think about their jungler here, as they do have the option to flex Lee Sin. Don't expect that. I think they're going to respond to the Elise.
Probably they're leasing in the solo lane still. The Elise, it did get slight nerfs on this patch. The AP damage ratios on the auto attack and the spider form were hit just barely, but like it really wasn't that much. It was mostly just some damage for the scaling in the late game. Her base stats are still really good, but we are actually seeing the Lee Sin going into the jungle role. So the Gnar picked for Takuma in the top lane, Orianna in the mid lane. Gabby, this is like the first time that we've seen a draft so far in summer 2021 where champions are going where they were designed to go. So I guess FlyQuest is sticking pretty standard right now.
How dare you think that narrow-minded about League, Kangas? Champions going where they're designed to go. It's all about the flex picks here, man, as we're going to embrace some of the Flexius energy. No flexes, though, in this one, as we're going to round it out with a Jace for Lorlo, something that he likes that is very good into the Gnar. And I really like the composition that Dignitas has, actually. They have so much gank assist for Acadian to go for, and the really interesting part about Elise is that because her early clear and her early kit is so powerful, she can break the game, because she is able to hit timers that no other jungler in the game can hit if she goes for 3 camp ganks. And I want to see if Acadian goes for that, and if FlyQuest properly scout for it.
The thing is, Lee Sin is a jungler that is also strong in the early game, and one of the only ones that you could even have in a conversation that could kind of hang with Elise in terms of early game skirmishing damage. But you don't have the lanes to play through. You talked about the Jace, the Renekton, the Varus, Nautilus being able to set up the Elise. Where's the setup for FlyQuest? They don't really have much that will enable NXI to get aggressive and go for ganks. Seems like they're playing more for scaling, more for team fighting with the composition that they brought together. So a lot of pressure will be on Tomo now to try and carry in these later stages of the game, if they can even get there, because this early game focus from Dignitas Academy, hey, I mean, if you're trying to focus on your aggression early on for Summer Split, this is one hell of a comp to do it with.
Yeah, throwing it back to Season 3 junglers here, Kangas, as we have Lee Sin versus Elise, and that means potentially a lot of action early, so we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled on the Rift as we are spawning into Game 2 of this best of 2. FlyQuest looking to bounce back against Dignitas in this one.
And we see a group up from FlyQuest, all members on the top half of the map. They got the Thresh. If they can find Lorlo, ooh, he's positioning pretty safely. He left the brush. If they walk up right now, he's going to have no idea. And we toggle back over. Oh, he's not spotted. They don't see Lorlo. I don't think that they realize that there's a Jace right up there. But he will spot them if they walk back through. They might just go for backs.
This is quite the game of cat and mouse here, as FlyQuest are going to sneak out, not spotted, and Dignitas don't really get any deep vision into the jungle of FlyQuest, so this goes relatively unpunished. NXI still has time to start on whatever camp he chooses. As Acadian, we're expecting Acadian to go for a 3 camp, right? 3 camp, get involved early, and I'm curious to see what kind of pathing he goes towards, as he is going to show on the red buff here, does have access to sweeper, so he should sweep this out.
Has he started it yet? And no, he's not actually sweeping. It just came up off of cooldown after he dropped his ward and then backed. So he will be spotted. He does not know that he is spotted necessarily, as that early game had been very silent between both teams. Unless that was Laurel backing off because they assumed that was a 5-man topside. They didn't spot anybody anywhere else. But it's always tough to know what the communications look like for the teams. All that we know is what's happening on screen, and that's Acadian going for the Raptors. So presumably not going to be a top lane gank to start things off.
Acadian is going to go skip over the Krugs. You need to do this in order to hit the timing for the Gromp. Curious to see if they end up going for any more camps, though. It seems like Acadian might be going for a level 3 take on the Gromp, as NXI seems to be opting in for a full clear. So both junglers pathing towards different sides of the map here early, as Lorlo taking advantage of the early power of the Jace.
Ooh. That was a good chunk to Kuma right there. Also important to note that JJ got aggressive onto Diamond on the bottom side, trying to chunk him out, forcing a potion use out of the Thresh. So potentially setting up for Acadian. The bottom side, Varus offers a lot of damage early on, and Nautilus offers a lot of CC lockdown early on. Getting his level 3, but is not going for the immediate gank once this blue buff first.
And seems to be going for a later timer, as Varus and Nautilus have shoved in this lane a little bit early. We're going to have to see if they end up bouncing that one, and if that's the timing that Acadian goes for to try and hit this bot lane gank. Keep in mind, too, the Renekton Elise, it's a very powerful combo, but it's a little bit more powerful in the long lane, right? Where it's a little bit tougher to punish. Cadian's actually going to be spotted going for the top side.
He's just going right up. I mean, Yasui pushes out mid. I think this is fine. They can just contest for the scuttle. They assume NXI's on the top half of the map, or maybe they spotted him out somewhere. But yeah, that means that NXI will not have access to this river scuttle. Lorlo and Yasui having priority in their lanes means that Acadian picks that one up and can presumably just path right to the bot one.
Yeah, should be the game plan here for Dignitas, and maybe even going
the
for look
stun
mid.
onto Triple. They get this summoner spell out. Cleanse use. Triple still has the flash, though. But yeah, I mean, look at this lane priority for Acadian. This is what the composition from Dignitas allows them to do. It's just full jungle control for Elise.
And also interesting that we have Triple and Tomo both opting for Cleanse. JJ.
Here's the hook, and onto Diamond. They want to force the engage. Acadian's here. He's not spotted quite yet. Teleport on the top side as there's a dive coming in from FlyQuest. Yasui pushes them back. Kumo almost went down. Another turret shot. He might have died to a flash auto from Lordlo, but he gets out just fine. They get Summoner Spell, teleport out of Yasui, and also no gank on the bottom half of the map. So both these teams are looking for plays. Neither one's finding it in the first couple minutes.
Acadian's going to be a little naughty here and just cancel the base of Triple. Seems like a small play, but actually very important, as Triple might have to stick around now on low mana to prevent Yasui from crashing. Did opt for the Cleanse and Spellbook going up against Elise to try and prevent the chain CC combo that both these champions can perform early. The combo that we've been seeing for years and years in League of Legends still rings true all these years later. As Acadian, Yasui, they're going to look for this timer.
Triple still doesn't have Cleanse. We got to keep that in mind, so he can't get away from the CC if it lands. Flash from Yasui. Flash immediately followed by Triple. Well timed right there, so he doesn't die, but that's now both Summoner Spells down on the Orianna with low mana. Triple's, like, come on, guys, leave me alone. I'm just trying to farm up right now. I'm just trying to abuse the range matchup into Renekton. We're just vibing. We're just chilling.
Yeah, Acadian doesn't want him to vibe. That's for sure. But that said,
Acadian's just got a different vibe, man. Yeah,
and
he's on a different level.
Is spotted here, just going to help his bot lane shove out, try and get a hard reset to get a clean base here for spawn. We're not looking for anything else here, are we?
Nah, there's no way. That sentence lands out. They do pull JJ back, and they get the Graviton lockdown, plus the FLYA. NXI, can he get in there? He does go for it, but they might just turn it around. First blood, but it's traded back. Now Acadian once more onto Diamond. No Summoner Spells on the Thresh. Spawn not giving the kill. It's a double kill over to Acadian. Tomo trying to answer back, but that's a wave. He doesn't want to push too far forward. Those minions will do damage, and it's a 2v1 despite low mana on Acadian and Spawn. So Dignitas actually bounce back and get an extra kill for it.
NXI taking the Lee Syndrome, right? NXI, very talented Lee Sin player that we saw when he came up on 100 Thieves Next after he subbed in for when Kenvi was promoted to the Academy squad last year. Haven't seen it since. Is obviously Jungle Lee Sin, not something that's very meta now, but FlyQuest utilizing that flex pick. A little bit too aggressive as the damage from Nautilus and that dredge line from JJ on point to cancel that Q as they blow him up, and Acadian's able to move on to another member, take out Diamond as well. FlyQuest overreaching just a little bit in that bot lane, Kangas.
And Acadian, he hadn't even backed and spent any gold right now. So his first back, he gets fully upgraded boots and a Dark Seal. 2-0 and 0 on the Elise. Really good start for this champion who can now use that to try and snowball. Let's take another look. Like you said, Dredge Line saves him for just long enough and pulls FlyQuest way too far forward.
Yeah, and you can see NXI thinking about it. He's like, maybe, and then the Aftershock is just a little bit too much. JJ able to get all of his cooldowns off before he goes down, and Acadian not using any of his, able to turn this, and with the early power of Elise, going to feel A-okay for the side of Dignitas to take a positive play on the Rift and find themselves going even here early. Now, as this game goes on, Kangas, FlyQuest, how they played last split is we talked about the fact that they like to seed objectives early and play for late game scaling. Definitely have that in this game with the Aphelios and the Orianna. So we do have to continue to keep our eyes onto Dignitas and Acadian and how they're able to use this Elise to try and snowball and break the game before Orianna and Aphelios can really hit their stride at like the 2-3 item point.
Yeah, it is still dead even in gold right now. And with the Elise, you want to really start a snowball rolling early. You got one for yourself, but let's see how you can impact the rest of the map right now. As no objectives taken. It's just waves pushed in. NXI still level 5 here on the Lee Sin. He's hanging around this dragon just in case Dignitas started up. I feel like Dignitas could maybe just brute force this or to go in onto triple. Still has the cleanse, but no flash available. So if they land CC, he will need to use that summoner spell. There we go. Yasui setting it up. Triple cleanses immediately, but the cocoon lands for Acadian. Shockwave as the answer. No kills. Triple playing that pretty well.
Playing that very well. So he takes away half the health bars of both Yasui and Acadian. Something else that it's been kind of out of our minds so far in this one, but Kumo is playing this top matchup very well, Kangas. Gnar not supposed to be in the lead at this point.
Probably not supposed to dive the Chase Center turret either and win the trade. But yeah, he's having a fantastic lane currently. He's up 3 full waves of CS over Lorlo, who opted for this matchup and is definitely struggling.
Also, Lorlo delaying that tier, going for the serrated Dirk. That delays the power spike of Jace, where currently the form of Jace, he really hits a stride at 2 items as, Aphelios has good guns.
Do you want this? There we go. Yeah, he engages onto the Aphelios. Maybe the burst is there. Tomo trades one back, but Acadian follows up. Tomo's out of the fight. Spawn and Acadian can now chase down Diamond. The support kills going over to Dignitas onto their carries. They wanted to go onto Spawn. 203 on the Varus. Really well done by Dignitas, finding out FlyQuest right after they took the Dragon.
We're going to have to take a second look at that one, because Aphelios had good guns and had the Chakram stacked, but this is a poke Varus, and that ultimate and that Q from Spawn that was empowered just tore through the side of FlyQuest, guaranteed the fact that Dig won out on that trade. And they punished the fact that FlyQuest take that first dragon of the game effectively, as we have to keep our eyes out. So Tomo, he has some of the, his weapons stacked, and because of this, they feel like they can go for it. But watch the damage on this Q.
Ooh.
Oh, goes through all 3 members, had full stacks on whoever he landed the Chain of Corruption on, and that's just way too much damage for FlyQuest to deal with early. They have yet to scale, and Acadian just feeding that one over to Spawn, kind of walking around with Thresh, like, all right, we'll give this one over to our young AD that we are trying to develop on this squad as Spawn. Sitting pretty at 2-0-3 in the bot lane here, looking to take over as Dignitas have rotated to get this rift, and now Yasui.
He's just clearing the wave. He's not looking for it, but maybe FlyQuest are. Pops the Dominus just to stay alive right there. So Summoner, or the ultimate cooldown no longer available for Yasui. Dignitas, they get the Rift Herald on the top half of that play as well. Where do they want to drop this one? I think Tomo is really far forward here. He's got the Thresh Lantern, but he's going to have to back off. And now that cooldown, that's a couple seconds that he doesn't have that Lantern to save him anymore. But Dignitas do not commit to the play. And they just back off right here. The Dragon was picked up by FlyQuest. I think it's important to note that even though, yeah, they lost the ensuing team fight, they get the Dragon stacking a little bit earlier, so maybe they can turn this into a win condition for them, or at least just delay that option for Dignitas, because we highlighted the scaling of FlyQuest. This just elongates the game a little bit further.
Yeah, and the big win for FlyQuest so far is, I'm going to pause as JJ's looking.
Okay. Oh, flash hook. Misses because of the flash from triple, but they still have the Rift Herald. They could drop it mid.
That is going to be the game plan, as Dignitas looking to accelerate their early lead here at Kangas and go for the first brick. They're trading this for giving Aphelios some waves, being helped out by NXI, but now Dignitas, they might be rotating down, trying to prevent this trade from going on. Going to stop FlyQuest from sieging, as both teams positioning for better looks on the Rift, and JJ utilizing that mobility boots that he's invested in earlier, or plated steel caps, I should say, to make sure that that river is all in control of Dignitas.
Ooh, Kumo again under the turret of Lorlo. Look at the damage. He's not taking turret. Yeah, Lorlo, has to flash away. All right, Lorlo survives, but okay, that's a Graviton ultimate. Now Diamond catching out Acadian. He goes up into the rappel, flashes to the blast code. He's out. Acadian with the fast feet, but triple has shockwave. If he can get that orb in range, not fast enough.
Water walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helped Acadian get out. He was able to just cruise right on out of there, as Tomo barely going to escape the dredge line.
Had to cleanse there because Spawn threw out ultimate.
Yeah, both teams trying to make plays, but it being countered. And once again, this does favor FlyQuest, right? They have the scaling in their advantage, and the big part about this game, Kangas, is the fact that Kumo is smashing this top lane matchup against Lorlo, and this is, once again, not the way this matchup is supposed to look. Jace should be up in this lane, but because of how the early lane played out, because the jungler wasn't able to really help Jace take advantage of that range, Kumo already has access to early armor, early item. He's just going to take this turret all by himself in the top lane. as Lorlo just has to sit back and watch as Kumo is destroying this lane up 30 creeps.
One more wave and Lorlo not in lane means that Kumo gets that. That's all solo first turret gold over to him. You also look at the bottom side, that's only 2 plates left there, so FlyQuest Academy have multiple opportunities to get this standing gold on the map. But Dignitas Academy, ideally won't just give it to him, right? But do they have any options right now? Kumo is opting to back on the top half of the map. Okay, we're in a slight state of normalcy here, Cubby. Let's catch up on the gold and where it's currently at. You're talking about that top side. Yep, that's a 14k gold lead over to Kumo right now.
And honestly, at this point, I know that it's even on the scoreboard, Kangas, but the fact that, yes, Acadian sitting 3-0-2 on the Elise has made some nice proactive plays for Dignitas that has helped secure a lead on the bot side. FLYA's Orianna scale infinitely compared to their counterparts in this game. And the fact that FlyQuests are sitting even and now are going to be up in gold as the turret plates fall, very concerning for Dignitas, who are definitely playing this game on a timer, Kangas. And I think this dragon they have to obtain and have to stop the stacking from FlyQuest, because FlyQuest in that first one already denied soul stack, and Dignitas get outscaled as the game goes on, so they need to try and use this to force a play as they're just bleeding out across the map. 2 towers falling in both the side lanes, just thanks to the play from FlyQuest and their laning alone.
You said this earlier, Cubby, that FlyQuest in the spring, their identity was really, scale up and fight around 25 minutes, right? This is very reminiscent of that. It feels like, yeah, we saw a different look from them yesterday, but we have the same look here, and now they might be getting caught out, though. Diamond has to flash away. Summoner spell used, so no deaths over. FlyQuest looking for some kind of answer play. That was one ultimate used there by JJ, and one follow-up by Spawn. Teleport in now from Lorlo. Dignitas really want this dragon. They do not want to give over 2 to the side of FlyQuest, but they're also backing off. FlyQuest, with the ultimate economy, can actually take this dragon.
And Kumo is stacking up Mega, and keep in mind, he is the very strong power point of FlyQuest at the moment, so let's keep our eyes on him. If Spawn's able to land enough poke, maybe they get a health bar advantage where they can win.
Oh, Yasui's on the bottom side, but the fight's already breaking out. JJ decided to go in. Yasui on the flank, might take down Diamond, but
watch Kumo.
It's too late. It's too late. There we go. Support's dead. JJ, Acadian following. Yasui dove onto the back line, but he says, where'd the rest of my team go? I thought we were going in. But they went in a little early, so 3 die for free. Actually, they get Diamond at least. So 1 traded back. Lorlo's trying to use NXI to get out of there, but NXI with a kick back. Lorlo also dead. Kubo picking up that kill. FlyQuest Academy really opening up the map off of that play.
Beautifully played by FlyQuest Academy, who, a lot of credit, honestly, this game to Triple, Kangas. Think of how many ganks that Triple had to dodge out on with this Renekton Elise combo. He didn't seed anything. He never went down, and now we get to the point where the game's even, but FlyQuest, they've already outscaled the composition of Dignitas, and because Spawn wasn't able to land enough poke, he's the big power point. Once it breaks out into a 5v5, Aphelios infinitely more damage with his build and with the guns that he has, as FlyQuest is able to control this fight beautifully. This is the style we saw FlyQuest be very successful with in the spring, right? Seed early, get to a point where you feel like you've outscaled on even footing. Until then, you lose gracefully, and then once you find that timer, you win the game from there. FlyQuest doing that beautifully in this one as they found Acadian.
And caught out again. Acadian goes up into the rappel, but there's too many members of FlyQuest. They pick up 2. JJ's down, Acadian's down. Rift Herald's on the table here, and FlyQuest finding multiple plays in a row now, looking really dire for Dignitas Academy, as they had this composition that was meant to dominate through lane, meant to win the early game. First couple steps went well, right? Acadian got fed, Spawn got fed, but through the solo lanes and through NXI now showing up in these team fights, getting a couple kills, the gold has swung vastly in the favor of FlyQuest Academy. They'll get the Herald, they'll get this mid turret, and that means that they have multiple lanes to play through, Cubby. No outer turrets remain for Dignitas.
And Dignitas are reeling at this point of the game, Kangas. A 5k gold deficit, down 2 dragons. And this Elise pick, Acadian was able to make some nice early plays, but ultimately, I feel like the solo laners of FlyQuest really the big highlights for me. The fact that Triple, he absorbed so much pressure, Kangas. Think of all the members that Dignitas sent to the mid lane. And just with the power of cleanse and some nice sidesteps and movement on the Orianna, He absorbed all of that and now is at his 2-item spike with the staff almost finished for himself up in CS against Yasui, against a Renekton Elise combo. Really well played by Triple. I know that it's things that, it's not the easy stuff to talk about. It's not the flashy stuff on the screen, but these are the things that FlyQuest does very well to give themselves favorable game states, and we're seeing that really shine in this game as they have outscaled and now just get to run down the rest of Dignitas.
Now they're ready to get aggressive, right? Just running down Dig as they're in the river. Like, okay, you want to challenge us? You're approaching? Let's go. We are ready to fight right now. That double item completed on Triple now has the Seraph, so that did upgrade completely. Tomo with a mythic item completed. We don't see double mythic or double items on anybody else right now, so it really is just Triple who's holding a lot of that current gold here. But you look across to Dignitas, and there's really nobody that can actually answer that Orianna. Triple will be blowing people up, and it's, again, the old look of Triple, the control mage player. Played a lot of Azir, played a lot of Orianna, even a little bit of Lucian Victor, but now back on that Orianna, looking like he hasn't missed a step here. FlyQuest, they even get flash out of Lorlo.
Yeah, Lorlo, I mean, he is down 2 levels against the Gnar. It is a brutal matchup if Gnar is able to rush early armor and hit the item spikes before Jace. As
Shockwave onto 2. They can find the engage. JJ has to flash away right now. Maybe Acadian can get one. Oh, NXI's out! NXI's out with the Dark Passage, and FlyQuest get 2. This is revenge for that game 1, Cubby. FlyQuest came into this one thinking that they had it in the bag. They were feeling confident. If you check their Twitters, some of the players were even tweeting about it themselves. And that game 1 didn't go how they were expecting, but now they're back to their classic tricks here and looking better than ever. 7,000 gold up. No, 7,000. Oh my, I'm going blind right now, Cubby. I'm so excited. But 7K in the lead right now, FlyQuest. Looking to close this one out quickly.
Yeah, and honestly, it's like it's watching a master surgeon at work. The way that FlyQuest have they've waited, they boded their time until their comp hits their strength, and they just picked apart Dignitas one by one in a way that is so controlled for an academy team, right? The fact that they're able to dodge out on the early ganks and plays from Elise, and then once they hit their point of strength, it is full-out aggression as they understand what their comp and what their timings are very well as a team. Something that was their big strength last split is Triple. Beautiful Shockwave here. And watch Diamond in this fight. Oh, we don't have time. As Kumo might be in trouble.
You can watch the fight right now here as Kumo's jumping in. He's trying to stack up that Rage Bar. He's about to hit it. Doesn't need it to get JJ as the rest of Dignitas do get out. Dignitas keep looking for play. Okay, also apparently NXI can just solo Lorlo in the bottom river. Just casually, just to add the little cherry on top right there. So 2 pickups for FlyQuest. Dignitas are looking for these fights. They're looking for ways to stay in the game, but FlyQuest are just ready for them every time.
Yeah, NXI throwing it back to the Season 3 junglers here with Lee Sin versus Elise. Little starved out on farm, but we'll make up for that with dueling power and the strength of Gorge Ranker, as Lorlo definitely had a tough game on the Jace in this one, and Kumo, I mean, big props to Kumo. This is a player that, I mean, we talked about it a little bit in the first game, right, Kangas? He didn't have the strongest split last split, but oh my goodness, this split, he has come out on fire. I mean, this is not a winning matchup. Kumo is destroying it. Yesterday, 6-0-4 on Lee Sin, a new champ for him, as well as 7-3-13 on a Wukong, where he pretty much turned the game back around for FlyQuest later. Looking very strong as a top laner in this early split of Academy. Love to see his growth, the player that's even been in the system for a little bit longer, as we are going to get the 1v1 NXI down a level, but he's on Lee Sin, he lands the Qs, and Lorlo doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah, there you go. That's NXI's specialty right there, finding somebody out of position and just, winning the mechanical check, right? NXI is an incredible mechanical jungler, and he shows it off, but now dive under the turret here. Tomo taking a lot, but it's just a return of damage onto JJ. Support's already dead for Dignitas, and with the Baron-empowered minions, I think that FlyQuest can just keep pushing this in. Yeah, they'll take an inhibitor here. They even have a wave topside, and now it's a 4v5 defense from Dignitas. They could get double inhibited here.
And Dignitas, they went for the early comp. They got outscaled. They weren't able to find the early plays and timings. And Yasui was trying to stop away from stopping FlyQuest from into the game too quickly. But this one's all but over.
Shockwave! Lorlo's out. Acadian dodged it, but Yeah, these death timers are getting staggered here, so Dignitas just don't have an answer. Maybe, okay, wait, actually, Yasui's looking for a flank. These are low health bars from FlyQuest, but Yasui is not finding a successful one. The rest of the team's not quite there on the timing, so he can't just hard engage and have backup. FlyQuest, they get the turrets, they get the inhibitors with that Baron buff. That is a great Baron power play there.
Yeah, not much else to talk about in this game, Kangas. This one is this one's been over for a while. As if Dignitas would have come back, hero setups in the bot lane, stopping FlyQuest, it would take a massive mistake from FlyQuest to seed the game back in favor of Dig, as they have advantages at every lane, every corner, and at this point, every champion they've drafted as well.
So how can FlyQuest speed run this one then, right? You know, you got inhibitors open mid, inhibitors open top. That means Super's coming in. You still have the Baron buff, so they're looking to close the game out right now. And yeah, this is a great way to start it off. Acadian buying time, but Kumo jumps in, knocks him and Lorlo back. And that's just into the waiting arms of Triple, who gets a nice double kill. Yasui jumping, hoping to get onto some semblance of backline, but no, FlyQuest just gets to dive around. They don't even need to pay attention to Yasui right now. They just run down the rest of the members. It's only Spawn left alive. This will be the Nexus turrets falling, and FlyQuest taking the game number 2 here. Evening the record against Dignitas Academy, but going up to join the likes of 100 Thieves and Cloud9 in that 3-1 club. We're not seeing perfect series anymore, Cubby, but we are still seeing discrepancies between the top and the bottom here in Academy. FlyQuest will take game number 2.
Nice to see the best of 2 format getting some use as we're staying on schedule, splitting some games, the gentleman's agreement, as we both see the blue side games win so far. And hey, I mean, if you're FlyQuest, what a bounce back from them, right? They tried to go for a very aggressive comp in game 1, weren't quite able to cash out on that. Game 2, they returned to Old Faithful, right? The scaling, played that out very well, and we're going to see the replays here as I mean, this was really the one positive play we saw from Dignitas. A nice dredge line from JJ, just locking in NXI as he jumps on in. And the early power of Elise able to cash in. But from here, Kangas, it really felt like it was all FlyQuest as they just waited, boded their time. And once they found their timer, felt like they were strong enough to take a fight. They won the first one and did not look back from there.
Dignitas had a couple great early game plays. They had multiple kills onto Acadian. This was huge. Yeah, JJ finding that perfect hook, and Tomo thought the turret would block it, but Dignitas just couldn't hold the lead. FlyQuest did such a fantastic job. From this point forward, this is when we started seeing the chain ganks onto Triple over and over again, and him just absorbing all that pressure, never going down. And then FlyQuest got a couple good team fights as well.
Yeah, and also everything off camera as well. I know that I credited Triple quite a bit for his play, but Kumo straight up just winning that lane in the losing matchup as well by 40 creeps. Nar so much more useful in the team fights with that extra gold on his shoulders as well, as that was one of the big factors that helped FlyQuest snowball this game rather cleanly. They won this fight convincingly. They took mid turret, and quite frankly, the game was over, as they just ended up winning every single fight from there, and did not give Dignitas any chance to get back into this one.
Yeah, when you're able to hook the enemy Aphelios under your own turret as Nautilus, lock him down, and there's just no follow-up from the team. There's no one to actually capitalize on that because of this team composition that you've drafted. You needed to be playing out on the map, and by this point, yeah, the game was over, right? It was a 10k gold lead. FlyQuest, they took their time with it. You know, they played a very safe path to victory there. They didn't, just push through the supers. They were playing with their Baron. They were playing through these side lanes here, but eventually they did land the killing blow after diving under turrets. So it was a safe. All right, now let's dive. Now that we got the 12k gold lead, I think we're ready. But either way, congratulations to FlyQuest Academy for picking one up right there. Looks like we will have an interview coming up in a couple of minutes, so we will get to speak with the top laner himself. Cubby Kumo will be coming in here. We've seen a lot of Gnar players on the interview desk. Let's try and keep this rolling. Yeah,
I mean, I feel like other players have to start picking Gnar, flexing its other roles if they want to get interviewed. That's really our only criteria, right? Play Gnar game 2, win, you get an interview. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. In the best of 2 format, maybe this is the meta that we're seeing. Best of 2's Gnar second round is just a free win, right? And don't pick Viego. I think those are the 2 trends that we're starting to see.
Pick Lulu, don't pick Viego. pick NAR game 2 and win. That's
exactly.
Academy in a nutshell for you.
And ban Gwen red side. Although, again, we did learn about FlyQuest. They're banning Gwen blue side, which means that they're not really prioritizing it as a blue 1 pick. There's more information for other teams out there to think when you're going up against FlyQuest.
Maybe they feel like, the scissors or like the way that Gwen is made isn't very eco-friendly, and they just want to, eliminate that one themselves and celebrate more Sunnyquest. As
reminds them too much of like a weed whacker that cuts up grass.
Not that great for the environment. Yeah, we're gonna have to take that one out. So.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't keeping track. Also, how many elemental drakes were taken, or how many ocean drakes were taken during that? I wonder. But we are ready for the interview, so we'll have to answer that question afterward. Let's get Kumo in here onto the desk to talk about that victory. Kumo, congratulations on the win. Thank you for hopping on the desk with us here today. You had a loss in the game 1, but you bounced back in game 2 and joined the likes of 100 Thieves and Cloud9 at 3-1. It's a whole new format, so I'm just curious your thoughts right off the bat. How do you feel about the best of 2s? How's this shaking things up for the team?
Personally, I think it feels a lot better. Like last split, we're like not even playing games at all. We're just playing like 9 games, and this split it's like a lot more, and it feels a lot better to have more games for sure, just so we can practice more.
Yeah, and I think it's something that's been paying off for you is obviously today you bounced back in game 2, but also kind of focusing on your play, Kumo. You got off to a hot start yesterday, had a big game on Lee Sin and Wukong, and then this game 2 is smashing that Gnar versus Jace matchup, which is traditionally Jace favored. How do you feel like your team is playing early in the season, like with this new style and the meta being very different? How do you think it fits you as a player?
I think the meta right now, it's, for me at least, I think it's a pretty good meta for me, just because of all the champs that are good. Like, I think I'm really good at them, and this split I'm focusing more on myself as well, so, yeah.
All right. Well, we've seen a lot of fun stuff in the meta so far. I mean, we had a break after MSI, not a lot of competitive matches to really learn what champions are being played right now, but we have officially learned Lulu Kindred is high priority right now. So I'm curious your thoughts, because FlyQuest, you did play this yesterday. So how did the Lulu Kindred meta develop? Was this something that was happening in scrims? Was this something that you found in solo queue? When did FlyQuest figure this out?
It was something we found out in scrims, but like we also didn't really have that many scrims. So, we saw like another team play, and it seemed pretty good. And then we're pretty much like trying to play ourselves as well, and it seemed like something that fits us well as well. And yeah, I think the combo itself is just pretty broken.
Yeah, sure seems that way, as I think it's undefeated so far in what we've seen in Academy. Kumo, before we let you go, just want to give you a moment. Do you have any thank yous or shout outs you'd like to give before we get you on out of here?
Yeah, shout out to all my fans, shout out to my team, shout out to my family, shout out to my girlfriend. Yeah.
He had to flex on us like that. Wow, he had to throw it in right at the end. All right, thank you, Kumo. Appreciate you coming onto the desk. Awesome having you, and congratulations ending your day with a victory.
Thank you.
All right, there, man. He had to end with that last one. All right, he had a lot of thanks to give that.
He's like so calm, cool, and collected, and like you just see him on the Rift like the last 2 days, just like popping off in pretty much every single game. I mean, even game 1 that like he dropped he got ganked and solo killed the Diana, and then he just like walks in like kind of calm and cool. Very terrifying on the Rift, Kumo, I must say, as you're looking really good in the early season, and FlyQuest moving to 3-1. Good start for week 1 of Academy.
He lets his hands do the talking for him, okay, Cubby? I think that's one thing that we've learned about Kumo. But that is it for our second match of the day. And I believe that means that the other stream is also probably closing up. I'm curious to figure out what's been happening over there. But we do have one final match to wrap things up with Immortals Academy versus Golden Guardians Academy. We're going to send it to another short break before we're back with the final series of week 1 for the Academy, Summer 2021. You're not going to want to miss it, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.